So here's an IB style physics question that I know you're going to get wrong because it's got two skills that students are rubbish at. It's got graphing and it's got resultant forces. Now pause the video if you think I'm wrong and you can try to answer it. So first place you're going to go wrong is reading the question. Notice the key details. Notice uniform acceleration, constant speed. That tells us it's going to be about resultant force. We also get information about the forces that affect the resultant force. Friction is proportional to speed, and the force from the engine is graphed. Now let's break it up. If we look at the first part of the graph, we accelerate uniformly. That means the resultant force must be constant, and it must be greater than zero. The resultant force is the sum of all the forces acting on an object. So if we want to find the resultant force, all we have to do is the engine force minus the frictional force. Don't do any more maths than this. Maths is slow, and you're a physicist. We're going to graph this out. We're going to graph the retardant friction force next to the engine force so we can see the difference, because the difference is equal to the resultant force. Now we're going to start the graph from zero because we know friction is proportional to speed and speed starts at zero. We're going to draw parallel lines because we know the distance between the black line, the engine force, and the green line, the frictional force, has to be constant because that's the resultant force. So if we draw these graphs, some don't work out. That's because if you look at B, it doesn't increase. And we know the frictional force is going to increase because the speed is going to increase. And the same with E. And if you look at D, we can see the difference between the two lines is zero. And that doesn't work out because we know our resultant force must be above zero to have acceleration. So we're just left with A and C. And we've got to try and figure out which one it is. The next part of the graph talks about constant speed, which means the resultant force is zero. That means the difference between the two lines must be zero, which means they must be in the same place. Now this can't work for graph C because then you've got that big jump and we don't have anything to explain that big jump. So that means the answer must be A. Now graphing is a massively underrated skill in IB physics and maths. And I'm going to be sharing all the skills that you need to up your grade in physics. All my knowledge about physics to help you test better.